Welcome to another Beyond Bulbasaur. Today I want to talk a bit about Charmander. If anyone listens to this, there's probably someone out there that's upset that I'm doing such an important episode as a solo. They can start their own podcast. Maybe when I do Charmeleon or Charizard, I'll be back to having guests and co-hosts. I gotta say though, this solo thing is pretty nice. So Charmander. Starting with Gen 1, Charmander is pretty rough. You can only catch normal, flying, and bug-type Pokemon before fighting Brock, and basically every attack, including Charmeleon's Ember, isn't very effective against Geodude and Onix's Rock/Ground type, a type that both Squirtle and Bulbasaur just plow past, each of them getting 4x damage. People often talk about Bulbasaur being the easiest to power through because it's strong against Misty and Lieutenant Surge as well. But I feel like by the time you get to Misty, you've got a team to deal with her, and Lieutenant Surge can be dealt with by Diglett easily enough. On the other hand, there are only 12 Fire-type Pokemon, as opposed to 14 Grass and 32 Water-type Pokemon in Gen 1. Not only are there only 12 Fire-type total, there are only 7 evolutionary lines. Growlithe, Magmar, and Vulpix are all version exclusives. Flareon sucks. Moltres is legendary. Magmar and the other version exclusives don't even show up until Cinnabar Island. I guess that leaves Ponyta, but regardless, if you want a Fire-type in the early to mid-game, Charmander is pretty much your only choice. I said this in the previous episode about Krabby, but it's crazy how few Pokemon are actually useful in a given game. Sure, there are 150 in Gen 1, but almost all of them have at least one evolution. This takes you down to 81 lines. Then you consider legendary, rare Pokemon, or Pokemon that don't show up until the game opens up around Saffron City, and the number of options is surprisingly low. So from a certain point of view, maybe Charmander makes the game a little easier. We couldn't talk about Charmander without bringing up the anime. In the anime, Ash meets his Charmander in the classic episode, Charmander, the Stray Pokemon. In this episode, Charmander's original trainer, Damien, abandons him, and Ash and his crew find him in the rain. This is where we learn that Charmander will die if the fire on its tail goes out. So do they naturally live in environments where it just doesn't ever rain, or do thousands of Charmander die every rainy season? I don't know. Also, Charmander's original trainer has an over-the-top Australian accent, and his line, "Charmander, no," has lived rent-free in my head for over 20 years. This episode was also remade in the movie Pokemon I Choose You, which is an excellent film as far as Pokemon movies are concerned. Oh yeah, and it took me way too long to realize that Charmander is a mix of Char, representing the fire type, and Mander, which is a short part of Salamander. Anyway, that's all I got today. We'll see you next time.